Nearly 7 miles beneath the ocean's surface, in the deepest section of the Mariana Trench, cameras captured something researchers didn't expect to find alive at all: a small, pale, almost translucent fish swimming calmly through the water under pressure exceeding 1,000 times what exists at sea level. Most submarines built for deep-sea research aren't rated to survive conditions anywhere close to this depth, and the ones that are represent some of the most expensive, over-engineered vehicles ever constructed. This fish does it with no engineering at all, just biology, and researchers studying it have spent years figuring out exactly how. This is the Mariana snailfish, currently the deepest living fish ever confirmed on camera, filmed at depths around 8,000 meters, close to 26,000 feet down. At that depth, pressure reaches over 16,000 pounds per square inch, a force intense enough that a standard submarine hull, without specialized reinforcement most vessels simply don't have, would be crushed almost instantly. The first part of the explanation comes down to something the snailfish simply doesn't have. Unlike most fish, which rely on a swim bladder, an internal, air-filled organ used to control buoyancy, the Mariana snailfish has no swim bladder at all, and essentially no other air-filled cavities anywhere in its body. That distinction matters enormously because air compresses dramatically under pressure while liquid and solid tissue barely compress at all. A submarine's hull has to withstand a massive pressure difference between the air inside and the crushing water outside. A snailfish's body, filled almost entirely with water-based tissue rather than air, experiences pressure pushing in and pressure pushing back out in something close to balance, removing the exact structural problem that makes deep sea engineering so difficult in the first place. That alone doesn't fully explain how the fish survives, though, because pressure at this depth still affects individual proteins and cells directly. And researchers sequencing the Mariana snailfish's genome in 2019 found something happening at a molecular level that pushes the explanation even further. Here's where the biology gets genuinely remarkable, because it involves a compound most people have never heard of, doing a job most people wouldn't expect a chemical compound to be capable of at all. Extreme pressure doesn't just squeeze an organism from the outside. It physically destabilizes proteins, distorting the precise folded shapes those proteins need to function correctly, essentially breaking biology at the molecular level from the inside. Researchers found that deep-sea fish, the Mariana snailfish included, accumulate high concentrations of a compound called trimethylamine N-oxide, or TMAO, within their cells, and that compound appears to directly counteract pressure's destabilizing effect, helping proteins hold their correct shape even under crushing conditions that would otherwise cause them to unfold and stop working. Researchers studying this pattern across multiple deep-sea species found something striking. TMAO concentration increases predictably with the depth the species lives at, and using TMAO's own known solubility limits, researchers calculated an approximate theoretical maximum depth where fish could still survive using this strategy, a prediction that landed remarkably close to the actual depths where snailfish have been found living. The same genome study also identified significant skeletal differences in the Mariana snailfish compared to shallow water relatives, reduced bone mineralization, and a notably flexible, cartilage-heavy skull structure rather than the rigid, dense bone found in most fish. A softer, more flexible skeletal structure is considerably more resistant to the kind of pressure-related fracture that rigid bone would be vulnerable to at these depths. Another piece of the same underlying strategy: remove rigidity and air pockets wherever possible, and let pressure pass through the body rather than fighting directly against it. Bring a Mariana snailfish up to the surface too quickly, and none of these adaptations survive the reverse process. Researchers studying collected specimens have found the same soft, flexible body that makes deep pressure survival possible becomes a serious liability once that pressure disappears, and specimens brought to the surface can deteriorate rapidly without the crushing environment they were built to withstand. So while human engineers spend enormous resources building submarines strong enough to briefly visit the deepest parts of the ocean, a small, unassuming fish has been living there permanently the entire time, solving the exact same physics problem not through strength or reinforcement, but by removing almost everything that pressure could actually crush in the first place. Knowing that a fish survives conditions most submarines can't, does that change how you think about what strong actually means in nature? Tell me in the comments and subscribe to NatureCrest for more deep dives into the animal kingdom's most extraordinary and most extreme survivors.